Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news. And a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Mikowski of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the local hot topics and news happening right here in your city of Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined as always by your Oshkosh City Manager, Mark Roloff. So Mark, as always, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into our hot topics for the first half of today's show. We're going to take a little break and then we will get right into the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, May 10th, 2016. So Mark, first thing we want to talk about today is the North Main Street reconstruction. We talked about this in the last episode of CMR and it was a little behind schedule, but it did begin this past Monday.
Right. Late last week we got confirmation from the Department of Transportation that is actually managing this project that the contractor had the green light to get started, and so Monday, May 2nd, they were at it, and the detour signs are up and people will be inconvenienced for a few months, but at the end of the process, I think people are going to be very pleased with this. This project was long overdue, as many people pointed out, and we're happy that it's going to be a great final product when you see it. It's going to have bike lane, so it'll have bicycle facilities as well as facilities for vehicles. There'll still be parking on one side of the street, and I think it'll be a great addition to the neighborhood, and it'll help rise the ships, as they say, yes, in the whole area, not just on Main Street itself.
Oh, definitely. People have been talking about this part of Main Street for a while, so it'll be a little inconvenience, but it'll be well worth it. And we want to get out to the public, too, that there is an email subscription that's available for people. If you want to get updates sent directly to your inbox, it's very easy just to sign up. Go ahead and go to contract 1602-subscribe at lists.ci.oshkosh.wi.us, or do the easy thing and go to the city website and just click on it there. So
it's a long link. I don't blame anybody if they just want to go to the website. Just go to Public Works and you'll get all that information.
Yes.
And you'll get the updates that you need when you need them.
Yeah, so if there's anything changing with the project, anything that might happen, different closures or different openings, they'll email it directly to your inbox. So great resource in that way. And there's also other lists on the website as well for other projects throughout the city. Next thing we want to talk about, another little change happening here at City Hall, is the utility accounting is moving to the first floor, formerly at the water distribution plant.
Correct. The water distribution facility just off of 3rd Street was where you would go to get inquiries about a new service and closing service. It's part of our accounting division, so it's really very closely aligned with paying bills. So we decided to put them both together. So on the first floor of City Hall, we'll have the ability to for you to pay your bills as well as check on the status of your bill's new service. This is the new area. It obviously isn't filled in yet, but we'll have little conveniences like the computer screen will be there so that the customer service representative can share with you the information that's right online and then can actually show you how to access it when you get home if you have another question. We want to make this as pleasant an experience as possible, and there's any way we can help you to look stuff up after hours, because a lot of people have to get out of their busy work day or some other commitment they have, and they can't necessarily make it down here. So instead of having to go to 2 different locations, they'll go to one, and if we give them enough information, maybe they can do it at their comfort and convenience out of their own home when they want to get to some information.
Definitely, and that change is going to be taking place on Monday, so that is when they're going to be moving over there, and it's a great point to say that it's kind of like a one-stop shop. So if they've always come to City Hall to pay their bills, but if they ever had a question or needed to speak to someone, they'd have to go over to water distribution.
Right, regardless of whether you're just doing a bill inquiry, you want to start or stop the service, make payment plans, anything that is related to your utility bill, you'll now be able to take care of it right at one location. Just come to the first floor of City Hall, and if you need to pay the bill, our collections department is right there. Everything's right there at your fingertips. We think it'll be a great convenience.
Wonderful. So keep that in mind for Monday if you're coming in to pay a bill or ask a question. That's all at City Hall now. Mark, next thing we want to talk about is the citizen survey. The results are in. We've got the results, and we've got a little bit of a recap that we want to do, a few highlights that we noticed as we went through them.
Just a little bit. I'm going to be making a larger presentation to the council at their meeting, but this is the 8th year that we've been working with University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh graduate students on this citizen survey, and it's to get an idea of how the public feels about the quality and importance of city services, and then ask them other questions about how they feel about safety in the community, place to raise kids here in Oshkosh, all sorts of different things. We can get a good feel for those things, and then that helps council in the end make some decisions budget-wise in terms of what priorities we need to have. So it's been very useful, and I think you're going to see that coming out, and then I'm going to be giving it to council very shortly, and it'll be online soon after. The one graph that you see here on the screen is one that I thought was a great analysis by the students, and what it does is it compares the residents' view of the importance of a service with the quality. And whenever you see a gap, that's something you really want to pay attention to. And right in the middle of that graph gives you a pretty good idea of some areas where there's a gap existing. And a lot of them are kind of in the same general type of area.
Right.
And that's economic development, housing, inspections, code enforcement, land use planning, those issues. So the other part of the study talked about neighborhood revitalization, and there were some mixed views on that as well. But these are the areas that contribute, that are components of neighborhood revitalization efforts. If we want to do things in neighborhoods, we do need to do code enforcement and things of that nature. Some people may not like that because we have to be a little more enforceful when we do things, and they may not like that. But the reality is, if we don't do it, we can't improve the neighborhood. So it's an interesting observation. I don't disagree with it at all. I think we want to do more, and as we talk more about rental registry program and other code enforcement efforts, the idea is to help close that gap. And it's great that we hear that from customers, because when our customers tell us there's a gap, if we're looking at where we need to put resources, it's to close that gap.
Yes.
So it's very telling, and I'm very appreciative of the results we get every year. It gives us a little slice of what's going on in Oshkosh.
Yes, that is very fascinating. The graph was very interesting too, to be able to physically see that comparison. Another thing that was really important to take a look at in the citizen survey was some of those bonus questions that were relating to the comprehensive plan. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an overview of that.
Every year we have a couple questions that we slide in there at the end to kind of get a sort of a snapshot of some current events. And we're in the process of updating our comprehensive plan, so we had some questions that were asked. And I can't say any of them surprised me, but it shows the theme that is very strong and powerful with the residents, and I think that shouldn't be overlooked. Big things were, they said 4 different things, but they really circle around the same thing. The residents refer to downtown or the central city, and then 2 of the biggest things I get questions on all the time.
You can always count on this one.
I can always count on these. The Buckstaff property and the Pioneer, which, by the way, are part of the central city. So there really is a theme to that. So even if somebody was making some comments of concern about the downtown or central city, there is some overlap with those things. So totally get that. And as I try to mention every time I can, we're in the process of working out some final arrangements. We're waiting for a grant from the state so we can get working on the Buckstaff property. We have an agreement, and we have some folks who are interested in the Pioneer, and hopefully they'll be able to purchase it and get that thing going. Those are the types of things that people want to know about, and we hear them, and these things don't get resolved in a day, but I think it shows the consistency and gets us pointing in the right direction, that we're doing the right things, even though we have a ways to go on making real solid improvement in those areas.
Oh, definitely. Those long-term things that have long been a topic of conversation, those always do pop up, as well as some new things. There was a question on the potential of a diversity coordinator position. How was the results for that?
Well, I'm going to share those results in more detail with the council. Sometimes you get results on these surveys that that say, well, I don't know why we would be doing something like that. There was last year we talked about a wheel tax. It was a very negative response. And so even though the responses may not be as favorable, I think we need to take a strong look at that, dissect it, see what and why's behind it. And I'm going to share those observations with council and give them an idea if this is something they want to do, how we move forward. And I think it does give you an idea that you want to be very measured in when you're implementing major changes. And obviously this would be something that is a pretty big change. And I think the results will bear that out, and we can talk about that and where we go forward.
Yes, well, we look forward to hearing you hash that out with council at the meeting. Of course, I had a note in here too, the streets are always an overwhelming quality of service item on the citizen survey, so just had to throw that in there.
Wasn't trying to dodge it, thank you. That was the other one with, if maybe Scott can show the gap analysis. On the far right of the graph, the other gap, as it has been for years, is on streets. One of the most high importance areas of all, and I think the numbers on the quality have been going up because we've been doing more with streets, but we're not there yet. And I'm not going to roll out a mission accomplished sign or anything like that. Main Street was long overdue. We're just now getting to it. There's some streets on the Near East Side that need to get addressed, and there's some others on the South Side as well. I'm not going to be satisfied until the gap's closed, and the council's not satisfied, and they've made that very clear to me. But it's that area. Where should we be putting resources in? Well, when somebody says this is uber important, well, then maybe we need to take a look at getting that gap closed as much as possible.
Definitely. So a lot of great information in the citizen survey. And like you said, you're going to be diving a lot deeper into that at the council meeting. So definitely tune in for that, as well as check out the results on the city website. We're going to be posting those very soon, so you can take a look at all of the details in depth in the report. Mark, now we just have a couple of seasonal updates that we want to give our viewers. First one being the Diggers Hotline. There's a lot of great information on our city website, and maybe just tell us a little bit about what people should be on the lookout for.
Well, this almost could have qualified for a question mark, but we couldn't get it quite right. But we've been asked questions because at the beginning of the spring, you get a lot of construction going on, and everybody wants to know, well, I saw a flag, what does that mean? These are the codes for the different flags that you'll see out there that may go by your yard, by your terrace area or something like that. Okay. When somebody calls Diggers Hotline, we like that because what they're doing is they're saying they're going to be safe before they dig. And we absolutely want you to do that. There's no cost to call Diggers Hotline. There's actually a cost to the city because we paid Diggers Hotline to provide the 811 service and to call us and let us know. But then we'll put our flags out, or the other utilities will. So the big ones there are, red for electric, yellow for gas, orange for cable, telecommunications types, blue for water, green for sewer. And then there's other ones there as well, but that gives you an idea of what those markers are out there for. Please don't pull them for 3 days. If they're in your terrace and they're starting to annoy you and you're ready to mow the lawn, after 3 days, go ahead and take them out because they're technically only good for 3 days anyway. So no problem with you removing them after they've been there for a while. The whole idea is when somebody calls Diggers Hotline, they want to get out there in the next day or two. So they'll identify that and then they'll be on their way. So if you see those flags, now you know what to look for and know what they mean. But please, by all means, if you're going to dig in your yard, call Diggers Hotline. We're more than happy to go out there and mark anything that's there, and it's literally a better safe than sorry situation.
Oh, for sure. And it's again, the hotline's 811. You've got the color codes on the city website under the Public Works Department's page under engineering, I believe. And I think it's like a 24-hour time period that you want to call before you dig. Of course, the more time, the better, but 24 hours, I think, is the typical amount of time they ask for.
Exactly.
So, great information. Some more great information we have is an update on a rain barrel workshop coming up on Saturday, May 14th. That's out at the Oshkosh Masonic Center from 9 a.m. to noon. And it's just a great opportunity for residents to not only save a little bit of money on their water bill, but also maybe get a little bit of a break too. Right.
The idea behind this is to build your own water barrel. Your gutter can go into the water barrel, and they'll show you how to do it, show you how to hook it up, and if you do it, and when you're done, you can apply for a break on your utility bill under the stormwater section. There's a little bit of a break if you get the rain barrel in there, so you may want to check it out. It's only a 2-hour investment in your time and a little bit of investment in hooking it up at home, but other than that, you're going to be ready to go, and it's a great way to get water for your garden without without using the city water.
Yes, so it's a great way to take advantage of some city services. Only $35 for Oshkosh residents, which is a great deal. A little bit more if you're not from the city of Oshkosh. And they do encourage you to register, if possible, at fwwa.org, as well as there is more information on the city website under the stormwater page as well. So now it's that time of the show, Mark, where viewers have the chance to ask him anything that they would like about anything that's happening here in the city for the Question Mark segment. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the Question Mark question is this week. So the question this week is, I saw some demolition work going on at the beach building. What's going on?
Okay, well, since it's next door to City Hall, I guess I better know as the beach building's neighbor. There's some demolition going on because there are some folks who are interested in redeveloping the beach building site from what used to be an office building into a residential and retail. Residential is proposed on the second and third floor and retail on the first floor. The demolition work is going on because these folks are hoping to apply for a tax increment financing district, which will enable them to get some incentives to do some of this work. But they need to do some demolition work because they need to get an idea of what the extent of the work is. They know that from what they've looked at from a financing standpoint, that there's a gap in making this type of project pencil out from a financial standpoint. So they need to get an idea of exactly what's underneath there. Is there any asbestos or anything like that? It's an older building. It can have the potential for that. So they need to get an idea of what they're up against before they do that. So
is the building currently vacant?
The building
Okay.
is completely vacant. It had a credit union in there for a while. The district attorney's office had a good part of their office in there for a while, and the building is completely empty right now. The windows are open while they're doing some of the demo work, and you're going to see a process in the next couple months where they'll be applying for consideration for a tax increment financing district, and that's something that the council will have to consider. But we're happy to see the possibility of that getting redeveloped. It'll be a great neighbor to us, and I think a great addition to the downtown area, especially area between Main Street and Jackson, filling in that gap there. I think it's really exciting.
It's a very exciting opportunity. And of course, I'm excited because there's the possibility of a coffee shop maybe going in on the first floor, which is right across the street from our office.
I can neither confirm nor deny it, but I've heard the same thing. And mostly I hear it from coffee people. So
yes,
that must be
people
you.
like me, yes. So great question this week. Thanks, Mark. A wonderful answer. If you'd like to send a question to Mark, we're very interested in hearing them. So all you got to do is email it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us. Go on our Facebook page at Oshkosh Media and post it on our wall, or tweet it at us at City of Oshkosh. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the City Council meeting agenda for this Tuesday, May 10th. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
On the surface, the simple pleasures in life are going on all around us. But inches beneath the surface, utility lines are carrying electricity, gas, and more to your home. Digger's Hotline helps avoid costly or dangerous mistakes. It doesn't matter how deep you're digging, call 811 or click diggershotline.com 3 working days before you start your project, and we'll help take the risk out of digging. Protect your simple pleasures. Know what's below.
I'm Edward James Olmos, and I'm here with my local letter carriers to remind you that Saturday, May 14th is the annual Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive. You can help in the fight against hunger, and it's easy. Just leave a bag of non-perishable food by your mailbox on Saturday, May 14th, and your letter carrier will do the rest. All food collected goes directly to food banks and pantries in your local community. So on Saturday, May 14th, please join me and the National Association of Letter Carriers and Stamp Out Hunger.
Report. Thanks again for joining us. Now it's that time of the show. We're going to go ahead and dive into the City Council meeting agenda for this Tuesday, May 10th. Mark, first thing we want to talk about is the Common Council having a joint workshop with the Oshkosh Area School District right before the council meeting.
Right. The council and the school board have had meetings in recent last couple of years, and they're trying to keep it quarterly now to talk about different topics. And so we're going to have a 1-hour work session, starts at 4:45, and we got a variety of topics of mutual interest. Probably the most interesting one that we'll probably talk about next Tuesday is the Police School Liaison Officer Program. Give both the council as well as the school board an idea of what the program entails, what successes we've had, what challenges we see that lie ahead for that program. And we'll talk about some other areas of mutual interest. So the last time we had it was over at the school district offices, and we're rotating between both areas. And it's a good dialogue for everybody, and I'm happy to be part of that.
Great opportunity to just stay on the same page with that group. So 4:45, room 404, right before the Common Council meeting. Next item, Mark, is approving a final resolution to vacate a portion of the Northwestern Avenue east of Madison Street, and this is relating to the YMCA topic that we've discussed prior to this.
Right, the YMCA is doing some expansion, and they're going to be reconfiguring their parking lot. And as we had discussions with the Y, we really discovered that there's a portion of Northwestern Avenue, and that stretches over from Mount Vernon and goes to the east. East of Madison Street, it really dead ends there. And ends in the Y parking lot. So it's really in our mutual interest to vacate that, which means we essentially give it up as a street, and then it gets turned over to the adjoining property owners. One side of the street is the Y, the parking lot, and the other part is actually Rowe Park, which is actually city-owned, and we don't see any need for it, and we'll be able to avoid having to plow it and maintain it in the future by turning it over to them. So item 6 on the agenda is, once we vacate it, what do we do with our portion of the land?
Okay.
The idea is that we'll turn it over to the Y, and they'll be able to have a little more flexibility in their expansion plans. And we've got some other things we're working with the Y on with this project of mutual interest to the Rowe Park, which is the city park, as well as the Y. And this is just one step in that process, but we want them to get going on this so they can get construction going on as soon as possible.
Definitely. It's interesting to find out about the closing of the street and how the different halves play out. So great information. Thanks, Mark. Next item we want to talk about, approve Healthy Neighborhood Initiative funding through Tax Increment District number 7. What is this district about?
Well, we've been working on the Healthy Neighborhoods program for a couple of years now, and some of our earlier TIF districts, our tax increment financing districts, they've been closing, and there's a provision that in state law allows us to extend a TIF district for 1 extra year, and that extra tax increment from that very last year can go in for to support affordable housing. And TIF number 7 is by far the largest tax increment financing district we've ever done, and we could really find some good seed money for a lot of good programs in our Healthy Neighborhood Initiative program, and that's where we've been putting that last year of TIF money in. This will formally say we're going to extend the TIF district 1 more year, and it's for the only purpose of dealing with affordable housing. So we're really happy to work on this, and our planning staff has been working a lot with the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative. A lot of the incentives we have to improve older housing in the city they're getting funded out of this program. So it's a great seed money for a wonderful program to improve our neighborhoods, which is a huge part of our strategic plan.
Great opportunity to extend that and make the most out of it. So, and if that is approved, when would the Southwest Industrial Park be closing?
The Southwest Industrial Park, which is TIF 7, thank you, that would extend, instead of closing at the end of 2016, it would close at the end of 2017.
Okay.
And that last year would be used for the funding.
Got it. Next item we want to talk about is number 7 and 8, both relating to each other. This is for the South Shore River Walk and directly relating to the seawall, actually. Give us a little background on that, Mark.
If it was only the Riverwalk we had to worry about, it would be so much easier. But as everybody knows from our history, the lumber industry, we had to build seawalls years ago to reinforce everything from falling into the river because it was pretty swampy down there. We have to reinforce our seawall along the river, and we have to do that before we start building a Riverwalk on top of it. So there's a $1.4 million bid to work on the seawall on the south side of the river, west of Oregon Street in the old Geldwin property. So that's what this is about, is to get that next part of the seawall done. And then number 8 is submitting for a Department of Natural Resources grant to work on the Riverwalk itself. It'll be on the same property where the seawall is getting done. We'll put the Riverwalk on the seawall once it's all done. So you get an idea. This is the part of the river that's getting done east of Oregon Street this year. You see all that activity going on over there as you're crossing the Oregon Street Bridge. The idea is we want to do similar work that you're seeing right now
on the other side,
side of the bridge. So you'll be seeing that, with this bid award, they'll be working on that throughout the summer.
Very exciting. It's always great to hear updates on the Riverwalk. We love to hear that, especially as we move into the summer months. Mark, next item we want to talk about, Resolution 16-232, is dealing with a new community garden over on the east side of the 600 block of Grove Street. Tell us a little bit about this and who's petitioning for it.
I am so happy about our neighborhood associations. They are getting so engaged. And in this case, you got to shout out to some folks with the Menominee South Neighborhood Association. Ben Krummenauer is the representative of that group, came to the Plan Commission the other day. And you may recall last week at Parkway and Grove, at the corner there was a housing development approved that's going to be working with Habitat for Humanity. Mm-hmm. This is the lot immediately north of that. So the area you see shaded in blue, that's a proposed about 1/3 of an acre site that's going to have about 30 raised beds for a community garden. And the neighbors in that Menominee South neighborhood are going to be able to just go over there and register and get a site planted and plant their own garden and go at it themselves, get tips from their neighbors on how to plant tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever rocks their boat. We're really happy to do that. It's a great addition that our neighborhood associations recognize that these vacant lots, until such time as something else happens, make use of it, and it becomes a rallying point for neighbors to talk about things, to share ideas, and to make the neighborhood beautiful by putting in a beautiful garden. So we're very pleased with all of our neighborhood associations. And today we shout out for Menominee South, and next time we're going to be talking about other ones, because all of these neighborhood groups are really getting engaged and recognize that there are things they can do to help make the neighborhood better, and that's just, it's so empowering.
It's inspiring to see the neighborhood associations stepping up and engaging, and just these awesome things coming out of it. So great feel-good item. Mark, last item we want to talk about here is under council discussion dealing with the rental housing program, and that's for a workshop on May 24th.
We've been getting some interest. This is the rental registry program that we've been talking about for a while. At the council meeting on Tuesday, or no later than the council meeting on Tuesday, we'll hand them the draft document that we're proposing to create the rental registry program. We want to educate the public as much as possible. We'll also get this online so people can get a look at it. The May 24th workshop, it's going to take a little longer than the normal workshop, so we're going to do it after the council meeting so that we have a little more time to devote to it. And the idea is to give the council a good overview of what the program is. They are not approving it or anything like that. What we want to do after this is, once the council has gotten a good briefing on it, take it to the streets, get some input from the residents, from the landlord community. Everybody needs to give us some input on this program. There's a little bit of controversy to it. I recognize that, but we really need to take a look at how we can make sure that we have good quality rental housing in the city, and this is one way we're proposing to do it.
Wonderful. So informational workshop, hearing later on, and of course it's very important to hear from the public on that. So wonderful. We are out of time, Mark. As always, thank you so much for joining us for City Manager's Report today.
Oh, happy to do it.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, May 10th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our new website, oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Don't forget to like our new Facebook page, Oshkosh Media, or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. As always, thank you so very much for joining us today on City Manager's Report. We'll see you next time.